It's a surprise for me, but I'm going to share it with you. I have been given more plants. My daughter-in-law's mother, Colleen, thank you, Colleen, gave me a handful of some very nice plants. They need a little bit of care. I'm going to do some things to mother them and get them into good health. And let me show you what I have. First, she gave me this really large basket of pothos, and I have yet to unravel it. I need to clean it up and get the dead leaves off. There are some that are dried. But this thing is wrapped. I don't know how long all of these vines are, but this is a massive plant right here. I don't know if I need to repot it. I can't even see the soil right now, but I'm going to unwrap it and see what the soil is like and see how long these things are and see what I need to do to get it into, it's not in bad shape really. I mean, it's pretty, and the leaves on here seem healthy, but I'm sure that I need to give it some feed. But it's going to take a while to get all these things, because these things were wrapped up onto the basket for transport, so I'm going to have to take those off. Now the next plants that she gave me is a pretty good size aloe, some succulents, and there's a Thanksgiving cactus in here as well, and some babies. I'm not sure what they are. They may be babies to this succulent here, and this is a variety of Kalanchoe. I'm not sure what the variety is. So I'm going to separate these and repot those. There's several baskets actually of this Kalanchoe, and it's flowering. Two baskets are flowering. This is the next pot, and I think this is all the Kalanchoe in here. I need to repot all of it and clean the dead out. And again, this one is also flowering. And the next pot is another two, like these are huge in thickness, aloe plants. This one is struggling a little bit, but there's some green down in here, and I'm not sure if there's something else down in there. It's kind of thick and twisted. This plant right here, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to clean it up and feed it and take care of it and see what comes of it. I love getting free plants. It's not like I need them. I actually have too many plants, but I don't know, really. Can you have too many plants? I'm always thrilled to get new plants, whether I need them or not. It's kind of like chickens. Do I need that many chickens? Probably not, but I'm going to have them, and whenever I drive past a place that has plants, my truck just naturally wants to turn into that place, whether I need it or not. So I take them. I'm appreciative. Thank you, Colleen. I really like them, and I will take care of them. Actually, my big, massive cactus that's in my greenhouse, I've shown it a handful of times through different videos, I mean, it is massive, and it has bloomed once. It's an aloe. That is where I got that aloe 12 years ago, and it was a baby. It was a couple of babies, actually, real small ones, and she gave me those, and I'm under the understanding they were babies from her 30-year-old aloe, which I can only imagine is massive, because mine is only 12 years old and it's massive. I can't pick it up. I need to repot it, separate it, and repot it into a better potting situation, but it's so massive I cannot pick it up. It's too heavy, and I just hadn't had time to get my husband to help me with it, so it's stuffed into that pot almost like Easter peeps, the way that it's trying to come out of that pot. But that's where I got that aloe, and same place I got these. She's moving and downsizing, and I'm very grateful to have these plants. But I wanted to show y'all because I love when I get new plants. If you're willing to stay with me, I'm going to take you along for some of the chores that I've got to do today that involve gardening or something to do with my gardening. And to start with, I have a dolly that I've got a flat tire on. It's a busted tire, so I'm going to change that tire. And here is the dolly. I guess it's cracked from being out in the winter. My fault.
Talking to me, dear?
Nope.
What are you talking to?
I'm talking to my people.
Your people?
My people.
Oh, okay.
The first thing I've got to do is get this cap off of this tire. It's pretty rusted. See how easy it's going to come off. Wasn't too bad. This is my new tire. I've had it a couple of years as a spare, and it looks like crap. It's rusted, but I'm going to use it anyways. And that's all there is to that, other than I need to get it aired up. Okay. That's one project down. I needed that dolly operational because I have something to reveal for the garden that I need the dolly to carry those things over. I will reveal those later. It's a surprise for me, but I'm going to share it with you. But first I'm going to go get some soil samples. Where's my soil sample stuff? First I'm going to take some soil samples to test my pH. I have a pH test kit here, and to back it up I'm going to use some pH test strips that are from my pool. And I'm going to compare the two because I don't trust these 100%, but between the two, I feel like it's going to get me in the ballpark. And I want to know what my pH is in my garden boxes. That's really important before you start planting or even amending your soil, because if your pH is where it needs to be for the particular plants that you intend to put in there, then there's nothing that needs to be done. Not every plant has the same pH requirement. Some plants might need something a little more acidic than others. Some plants may need your soil to be neutral or even a little on the alkaline side. But if you have too much alkalinity, then your plants are not able to uptake the nutrients that are in the soil. And if it's too acidic, the same goes for that. The availability of the nutrients is not there. In other words, the plants cannot uptake the nutrients that they need. So it's important to know what your soil pH is. I'm not wanting to plant just willy-nilly into my different garden boxes because not everything takes the same pH. I already have my potatoes planted, but I am going to test that soil to see if I need anything in that soil. But strawberries, they like it a little acidic. Tomatoes and peppers, a little bit on the acidic side, not too strong. And I want to test to make sure that my soil is where it needs to be, and I'm not going to do any amendments or fertilizing until I know what that soil pH is. Let me say first that it is best to get a soil sample from your local laboratory, whoever does your sampling, but sometimes they're not available. In my case, I don't have a lab near me, so this is the next best option. But you get a better detailed and more precise reading if they do it at a lab. But this is my best option. So what I've done is I filled a jar about a quarter full of soil from, get that stick out, from the bed that I want to plant my tomatoes and peppers in. And they like slightly acidic soil, between slightly acidic and neutral. So I'm going to take this jar, so I'm filling it up with water. I'm going to put a lid on it. I'm shaking it really good to make sure that all of the soil is saturated. Then I'm going to let it sit and settle. It might only take about 5 minutes because I just want to take a sample of the water in there without all the trash and debris. This is the test kit that I have for the pH reading. Like I said, I'm not going to rely 100% on this one. I'm going to compare it to two different pool test kits, two different name brands. I want to see how close they are with each other. I want to make sure that that soil is capable this year of feeding my plants, because the nutrients that's in the soil, and there are nutrients even if you haven't added any, the soil still has some, which I have been adding. I have been amending the soil in those boxes for 10 to 12 years, and with compost and mulch and various things. And through most of the years I hardly use any fertilizer, but it has been a while, so I want to test it and make sure. But if your soil pH is not in a good zone for the plant that you plan on putting in there, you might have struggles with the plant. It won't be able to take up the nutrients that it needs. There's a little capsule that came with the actual soil tester, and I need to break this open and put it inside and then fill it up with water. The brand of this test is called Rapid Test. It comes with other tests as well that test your phosphorus, your potassium, and your nitrogen, but those are said to not be real accurate. The pH is more accurate. I might use them anyways just to get an idea, but I don't know that I will rely 100%. Okay, I'm going to let this sit out of the sun and I'll read the results in a few minutes. I'm going to check with the first pull test strip and see what this one says. This one is in the OK range, which would be neutral. And when it says the OK range, it's 7.2. And I'll tell you what those mean in just a minute. They're both reading 7.2. Now on the chart, 7.2 is slightly above neutral. Neutral is 7.0, so it is neutral to slightly alkaline. And I have a light green in my coloring here, and that is 7.0, which is neutral. So I am neutral to 7.2, and that's slightly alkaline. Now for my tomatoes and peppers, I need to drive that pH down just a little bit to maybe a 6.5 to be slightly acidic, and I will take care of that. It's good to know that, because if I planted my tomatoes and peppers in that and it is slightly alkaline, then those things would struggle. They would not be able to uptake the nutrients that they need. What I'll end up doing is adding a soil acidifier, which I have a bag of that, but I can't say how much is needed. I'll have to look at the instructions, but that's all it's going to take to bring my soil to slightly acidic. Let me take y'all and show you how my potatoes are doing. Here's my potato bed, one of them. This is the one that I planted in a recent video. This is the one bed, the first bed. I have two more beds out in my front garden, but they have really jumped up. They're looking really good. Right now I've got the hose on them trying to water them. I tested the soil in this box and it was neutral, and so I did add a little bit of soil acidifier to this bed. I did it at the rate of 1 tablespoon per plant according to the bag, and what I used was Epsoma. I think it's organic. Epsoma organic acidifier. And now I'm just watering them in. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to mulch around all these potatoes. And I had a few, just a few, and that I didn't have room for in the boxes, and so I planted them in a basket. I started planting in those baskets about 10 years ago, and well, I did it for 1 or 2 summers, and I haven't used them since. And it was only about 6 potatoes, and I didn't want to take up space in another bed, so I just put them in that basket right there, and they're doing really good too. Can anybody see the floor of this garden, the ground? It's actually a ground cover. It's black, only today it's yellow. It's covered in pollen. I am drowning in pollen here. Anybody else got a pollen problem? It is on everything. It's in the carport. It's in my nose. It's in my clothes. It's in all the animals' watering buckets. I can empty them out, rinse them, and 5 minutes later, more pollen. This is terrible. I could draw my name in all of this. Okay, while I'm looking at this, let me tell you this. The ground fabric, if you look down this center, sometimes and apparently I laid it out and didn't get the strips close enough and overlapping. And sometimes when you don't do that, the fabric will draw up just a little bit. I did have them overlapping, but not enough apparently. And this little line you see going down here, this is where it has opened up and weeds are getting through. I've got to clean those weeds out, and I think I'm going to lay a new cover down on top of this to try to ensure that I stop those weeds, because this area is where I want to put something. And that brings me to my next thing I want to show you. Here it is for my birthday, which is next weekend. My husband bought me 3 metal raised beds. They are going to be 2 feet high by 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, and they are in these boxes right here. They are super heavy, but I guess I've got to put them together. It's probably a million parts, but I'm very happy to get those. If anybody has followed any of my recent videos, you know that my boxes have begun to fall apart, and I'll show you. This is one. Actually, that I did with the tractor. I took the sides off and started scooping the dirt away. I have not finished it, but that is where one of the beds is going to go. I'm not sure where the other 2 are going to go, but these metal beds are going to be replacements for 3, well, probably only 2, because these boxes were 8 or 10 feet long by 4 feet wide, but they were 3 feet high, and so there's going to be a lot of extra soil that's, you know, not going to, the new ones are not going to hold as much capacity as my old ones, but that's okay. I can certainly deal with that. I'm happy to be getting some new beds. We just did not feel like we had the time to mill new wood and build new boxes, so we're just going to replace with metal beds, 1 or 2 or 3 beds at a time, but this is a start. Now, these beds can be purchased on Amazon, and I'm going to wait until I have them together and determine the quality and see if I like them well enough to promote them. If I do like them, I will put the links to them down in the description somewhere. But first I want to put them together and see how strong, sturdy, and how well they seem to be made before I start promoting those things. My pear tree is blooming, and it is gorgeous. It's a single pear because the mate to it was blown down in one of our previous hurricanes, and I have not replaced it, so it's a single pear. Kiefer pear, I think, is what it is. My elderberries back here have started getting lots of greenery on them. My fig tree has started producing leaves. This is the smaller one. I've got a large one as well. This is my Rose of Sharon. It has started putting on leaves. A hydrangea here has put on leaves. A few potted elderberries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a six total that have started putting on leaves. This is one of my blueberry bushes that has been blooming, and I need to clean out around the bottom and put some soil acidifier down. I've got only 2 of these blueberry bushes. I'm going to try to take care of those today. Okay, so I got one box open. They are going to be a square bed. But so far, like, this is pretty thick metal. We have the instruction manual, a lot of hardware. This is a rubber bumper to go around the edges to protect the edges. Well, to protect you, I guess, me, from sharp edges. What's in here? Oh my lordy. Wing nuts. There are some, these are supports to, I suppose, go from side to side to hold it, keep it from spreading. And this is one of the panels. I love this color green. I did green in my kitchen also. And anything else that I can do green. And it doesn't matter if it's light green, dark green, mint green, pea green. I just like green. Now there's 3 of these. 2 are green and 1 I think is a gray or a brown. But looking at all of this, I got to put it together. It's going to take me 3 forevers to get these 3 put together. I guess 1 forever for each one. I'm not sure I'll do this today. But anyways, I was excited to share this. And oh, that's heavy. Because there's no way that we will have time to get any more boxes built for this season. So I'm glad to have it, even though I do have to sit down and put them together. I've been out here a few hours and I'm tired. Here's something else that I'd like to show. My elephant ears are starting to bloom. Well, I only see one. There's a lot of them in here in this big old tractor tire that I painted years ago. I guess I need to clean this out, and I see dollar weed coming up in it. Clean this out and mulch it and see how many more are going to come up. I did get my new piece of ground cover down this area right here, and down this center is where 2 of my new the metal raised beds are going to go. But I wanted to say this: for anybody who is considering using this ground fabric, if you've never used it, here's a piece of advice. Be sure to buy, these are staples to go in the ground to hold it down, but don't get anything less than 6 inches. This is a 6-inch stake, and it helps, one, if they're rusty, they hold better. So the new ones don't hold quite as tight as the older ones do. So I've held on to the rusty clips because they hold into the ground a lot better than these slick ones do. And then the other thing, instead of driving them straight down, if you do just a little tiny, sideways cant and drive them in that way, they seem to hold better. At least for my experience, the ones that I've done like that, they don't come back up. And the ones I've driven down straight, they do eventually inch their way back up a little bit, and I have to go through and tap them down again about 1 time a season. But the ones that I've driven in at a slight, just a ever so slight angle, they seem to stay in and don't pull back up. I didn't get out here till about midday, and my little pedometer, I know it's called pedometer, but it irritates my son and husband to hear me say that, so I call it my pedometer. I've done 7,360 steps from midday to now just in the garden. That did not burn but 237 calories. Come on, really? I think it's wrong. I dispute this. Here's something that I've noticed. My lilies have been eaten, and that's the deer. I counted 6 a few nights ago that were back here at this box, and they have really chewed these down. Every year I have a problem with them doing this. Chewed them down low. They like lilies. I probably need to put some fencing up around this, as well as, look at all the weeds. A lot of weeds in here. I have one single red rose. This is one of my knockout roses, and one rose has bloomed. My miniature yellow roses have started blooming, and this bush is loaded. They are so pretty, but they're very short-lived. It's a thornless yellow rose. I don't remember the name of it. It's only about a 2-week bloom, maybe a little less. But they are gorgeous. Dianthus is doing really well. They're always so pretty, no matter what time of year. They are so pretty. And more dianthus. This is my second bed of potatoes, and they're doing really good. These were planted maybe a week after the first box of potatoes. They're covered in yellow pollen, but they're doing pretty good. Mandevilla. This vine is so big. It's in the greenhouse and it wants to go outside. Besides the work that I did in the garden, I did get some of the outside perimeter of the garden mowed today. Well, it was so deep in grass. I need to go down and mow one more layer, but it was too thick to mow all in one cutting because it clogs up the mower. So I did get that done. Some accomplishment today. If you stayed with me this long, thank you so much. I appreciate you staying with me. I hope it was of interest. It was just chores I had to do. I did do a lot out here. And there's a ton more to do. Ugh. Rome wasn't built in a day, they say. And you can't clean a whole winter garden in a day either. And this is just the back garden. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. If you're not a subscriber, I hope you will subscribe. If you are a subscriber, thank you. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. And until I see you again, have a nice day.